right, good morning and welcome back to the Seth Rhodes Show, where we talk about personal growth, finance, e-commerce, entrepreneurship, basically anything I'm learning in this world. And yes, my description of this channel does tend to morph as I add more pieces and I really just experiment. I'm exploring, trying to see what fits and find my voice, find my rhythm. So this is a very special episode. I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth on this one, as per the usual. So it's easy to say it's special because I have no idea what it is. And I have confidence that something good is going to happen because I do this daily. This is the Dark 30 edition, folks, where I drive to my day job and I opine on the various aspects of my financial learning and my personal growth. Of course, it falls under that umbrella basically all the time. It just so happens that where I need the most growth in right now is my financial education. So what I learn, I share with you. What I've been learning lately, as some of you know, as you follow along, is that e-commerce is still alive. It's still a good thing to look into. It's something I've known about for years, finally getting my feet wet. And I have to say, after about a week in the Shopify world, I am anxious to get going. Anxious to start playing with the tools and seeing what I can make work. So, at this point, I've looked at tens of products. It does take time. I cannot do product research on my day job, obviously, except on a break, and I don't have a lot of breaks. I have standard amount, of course, but sometimes I cannot use those breaks to work. That kind of it sounds obvious, but basically I have wonderful slots that I get to fill with all kinds of stuff, mostly business right now, but still not each and every one becomes a business slot. Some of my lunch breaks are actually fairly public and not that much of a break. So anyway, I use my time resources the best I can and move things along, and I am so anxious to get a couple hour block to work on my product research. So some of the things I've thought of, I'll share with you right now, and I'll kind of share the why behind them. So, camping stove. I need to rebrand the name because I think there'll be multiple marketing angles on these little portable stoves. I have always loved these stoves, so that's an easy sell for me. And I work in the northern climate here where the winters are chilly. I do live in a bit of a banana belt for Eastern Oregon. This is not the chilliest part in Eastern Oregon, but the average temperature throughout winter is freezing here. So average low is freezing, I should say. I really should look that up because anyway, that's all part of a marketing angle for me. I work in cold climate and would like to have warm things to eat and drink at work, and I have 2 10-minute breaks per day and 1 30-minute break, and I'm often in the field far away from any way to warm my food, so of course I can eat cold food. What I've been doing lately, and this is a bit of a tangent here, but this will give you my context, and context is really important for marketing angle. My context is I'm a laborer in my day job, and I maintain a large irrigation ditch. In the warm summer months, there's water in it. In the winter months, we are repairing and maintaining everything. So we're out in the elements, we're out in the cold, and anything warm is such a boon. So it reminds me of a cool product I've been seeing hit the market lately. It's battery operated coats and hats and gloves. I'm not necessarily into that myself, but I think it's a cool product idea. So they're interesting. Anyway, prior to this winter, I was living in a warmer climate and didn't have to worry about this so much. But from the get-go, these little portable stoves that backpackers use and campers use are really something I love. I love the simplicity. I love the heat. I love the flame. It brings back nostalgia for me. So that does not make it a good product in itself, but I think many campers and outdoors people would like it, and perhaps some day laborers as well. So right there, those are 2 different niches. For me, they overlap, but for a lot of people, That's two different markets. So I like that already. I pointed at the construction worker whose thermos may not keep their food warm enough, their drinks warm enough. They may want to also warm it up on the spot and keep it for outdoors people who have the same issue. Like, your thermos can do a great job. In fact, that's a wonderful upsell. I love that. So that's a perfect product bundle, maybe. And as I was looking on AliExpress, there's a whole bunch of camping stoves. You know, they sell reasonably. They're selling for a couple bucks. The fuel itself is probably more expensive than the wholesale price on these stoves. So I think that is a good place to start for me. However, due to my just lack of funds to invest at the moment, I may want to find something with a smaller price point. We're talking $5 might be too much. And if I could experiment on 3 products for that same price, it gives me a lot more data to work with to see what I can actually find a market for. So if my wholesale price is something like $1.75, that allows me to do almost 3 times the amount of data points that I would with a $5 product. You see what I'm saying? Like, instead of selling one product, sourcing one product, and then selling one product for a higher price that I will have to really be liable for until it meets the customer's expectations, because there could be returns and everything, I could do a couple different tries on even lesser product. The margins might be better, but I think there's some value to starting off really small products that I can cover the loss of and the buying of easier. Which, it sounds crazy, but let's say I sell 30 camp stoves and something happens and I get a return for, say, half of them. Well, 15 times 5, that's $75 that all of a sudden I have to come up with in refunds. So it's not a big deal, maybe at that rate, but if I had to return 10 $1.75, that's $18, $17.50 of the lesser price product that I would be liable for. So I like to think in terms of what is going to keep me in the game longer. I can't afford to get wiped out on failed experiments, and the way I will grow the most is through experiments. So that is maybe the primary con of picking a camp stove, is it is a little bit more valuable. The raw material is a little more valuable than some other products related. So let's think of another one. I haven't seen this, but because I've purchased these in the past, I know they're a thing. But camp sporks, various types of folding and utility eating implements. Clearly, I will need some help branding and marketing those, because I don't even know what they're called. I don't know how to make them sound good. But any kind of device you use to eat. In North America, it's probably a spork. Other countries might have other names for it, and maybe even other devices, but various combinations of forks, knives, and spoons. Who knows? Chopsticks. I really don't know. Whatever people use to eat outdoors with, that you could market to. Well, one angle is marketing outdoors people. Another might be people on the road traveling. Another one might be the laborer. So different angles you can hit with these things. I know I will not be the first in any of these categories. These are not unique products in the sense that they've never been used. But maybe I'll find one that's really ingenious, high quality, low price point, that has yet to be marketed well. That's really what I'm looking for. And especially something that's evergreen, that's non-seasonal. Like, I love seasonal stuff, but I don't think I want to sell seasonal stuff to start with, because it has such a boom bust. Well, I think they have such a boom bust cycle. I've heard that, and I feel like that would be extremely hard to manage for a newbie. And let's face it, I'm a newbie. That's what makes this so exciting. I'm breaking into something that it's brand new for me. So that is my thought on products today, guys. That is a portion of e-commerce. I'm so excited to get going, and all my context here is that I have young children. So I have, people talk, here we go, guys. We talk about work-life balance, and one of the best things I ever heard was, you only try to balance things that are equals. And since I don't believe work and family are equals, family comes first. So, beautiful thing. I'm stealing that from a pastor named Bill Johnson. Who knows? Maybe it's original to him, and maybe he stole it from someone else. I don't know. I'm attributing it to him. It sounded really good. But let's break that down. If you're not going to balance them as equals, then you're not going to achieve work-life balance. It's actually going to be more of a tier. So, the family is top tier. My business has to work around my family, which doesn't mean I'm not committed. It means my commitment's less. And that's the same with having friends, it's the same with having a family, it's the same with having hobbies. You can be committed to all of them, but it's very important to figure out where they fall. And if this season I have to work extra hard, but I try to pull on my resources in a way that is most conducive to a family rhythm, most conducive to a family thriving. And one would say that finances are the foundation for a family, but they're not. They're a foundational pillar for sure, and a pillar that I'm extra focused on right now. But they are not what makes a family go. They're how you pay your bills. So paying your bills is great discipline. It's absolutely necessary, and the better you get at that, the closer you get to actually building a financial future where your wealth grows, and you might even be able to afford new clothes and stuff like that. So it's huge, but I've never put it first, and I'm not going to start now. But I will be disciplined in my own activities. So when I have hobby time, right now I pour it into my business. If I have free time and my wife and kids are otherwise engaged, I pour it into my business. And then of course there are planned times where I block out and keep myself away from them to do this. And then the dream is some of those times we'll be able to do together. We'll block out specific work time. Me and my wife will be working on it together. Me and a kid, me and the kids, me and the wife and the kids will be working on it together. All that is to come. So logistics and priorities, and then digging into that work-life quote-unquote balance that many people speak on. I think it's good to realize certain things cannot be balanced. Though I'll tell you, my honest struggle in this area is how do you put your family first when it takes so many hours in a day? Oh, and there you have it. How do you put your family first when it takes so many hours in a day to provide financially for your family? How do you do that? So there's a couple different angles. One is your time. If you spend inordinate amounts of time on low return financial anything, your day job for instance, if you spend inordinate times, then your return is so low and your equity is not growing, so that is robbing your family's future. For instance, overtime, almost no value to me. Here's why. That time and a half eats into my business time and my family time inordinately, and that extra 50% rate doesn't even come close to touching the equity that I can build if I learn through habit and exercise to use my time wisely. So I would rather not work overtime, work the bare minimum of hours, do my very best to accomplish more in that time for my day job, and then spend any time that is allotted to me and my family, spend that with my family, being present, being emotionally healthy and stable, being available, and separate from that, working on the business as hard and as focused as I can through the best time management, best organization I can. I'd rather do that than spend a couple hours extra on my day job for 50% paycheck increase on that hour, only to come home too tired to focus on my family or my business. So that extra money is awesome, and sometimes when things are tight, I relish that extra money. But that's a cap. If you can see it this way, it's an actual cap on what you can do with your time, because you're not generally building equity. Sometimes you're finishing a project at work that you committed to finish that has a value because you're growing that sense of I say something and then I do it. That's extremely important for your family, for your business, and your day job. So all that checks out. But let's say your work allows for unlimited overtime. Well, you got to be careful with that because usually that's not the case. But you don't want to burn out for something that has a capped rate. You want to be very careful using more than your allotted energy, more than your allotted time. Those are your most valuable resources on anything besides your family and a business, something that you're building equity in. Now, I'll turn this around and stop preaching at my audience. Bear with me here. Let me change my tone. This is what I'm doing. This is what is working for me. This is what allows me to use my time and energy and focus better. I work a few overtime hours, but I never search them out so that I can reclaim my energy, time, and focus and pour them into my family, which takes a ton, as you well know. If you have young children or children at all, you know it takes a lot of energy to actually be present and emotionally stable for them. And a business, it takes actual energy to be creative for your business. So you got to protect that and grow that capacity. And if overtime helps you do that, awesome. Do it, embrace it, be strategic. If overtime does not help you do that, oh wow, I'm preaching again. If overtime does not help me do that, then I don't do it. That extra time and a half is not that good of return when I'm just working on something that has an hourly rate. It's just not that good. There's no ownership, there's no future dividends, there's nothing that makes that particularly lucrative. So I've come to see that overtime has very limited value, but I am appreciative for every second, and I always do my best, and I consider it whenever it's available, because hey, who doesn't want to make a higher hourly rate? We all do. Awesome. And you can help your company out in surprising ways for very specific reasons when overtime is available. So there's things that you can get done that obviously fit inside that more open-ended rhythm. So I'm all for that. Long-winded spiel, guys. Have a great day. Go work hard at something you love. I will be doing that too.